I've prepared my sample by marking a stitching line or a hem line here. The first stitch I've made is 1/8 of an inch to the seam allowance side of the hem line. The next thing I'm going to do is turn it up on that line, press it, and stitch it just the tiniest bit above that. So you can see here, I have one stitch that I've rolled the seam allowance over, and I've done a second stitch, which is going all the way through, holding this up. To show you how I was cutting this, the next step is going to be to turn this up and stitch it down again. And you can see that now the thread marking that marked my hem edge is at the hem edge.
What that looks like from the back, and then what that looks like from the front.
The first step in preparing the waistbanding for this type of hem is to start removing individual threads from the comb. I've thread marked the hem from the wrong side so that it shows up on the face. And then I've drawn myself a line 1/4 of an inch from the thread marked hem into the seam allowance on the face side of the fabric. I'm then going to stitch this with the edge of the combs right on that 1/4 of an inch line here. So you can see this is the face of the fabric. The edges of my teeth are 1/4 of an inch into the seam allowance from the hemline right here. And I've run one line of stitching right along the edges of the woven section of the waistbanding. I haven't gotten it into the woven part. I've just stitched in the combs so that you can still pull this out without having to undo anything. The next step will involve trimming the edge of the seam allowance down so that it's flush with the combs, and then it's going to be wrapped under and stitched again. So I've done the wrap and the stitch. This is the outside. This is the inside, and here's the hem. You can see now that you can just pull this out of the hem because it's only been stitched on the combs, and the result is a perfect 1/8 of an inch baby hem.